Welcome, everybody. We'll call the meeting to order, the Newman City Council regular meeting of March 27th to order, please. Stand for the pledge. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Please bow your head. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here tonight. We ask that you watch over this great city of Newman, and we ask that you give this council the wisdom and guidance to make the right decisions for this city. In this we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bob. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Davis, Hutchins,
Present.
Candia, Mayor Pro Tem Martinez,
Present.
Mayor King.
Present. Item 5, declaration of conflicts of interest. Seeing none, we'll go to item 6, ceremonial matters. We have one this evening. Item A is proclamation of Library Week, and we do have our librarian present. Wayne, you want to step up, and we'll do a quick presentation. I won't read the whole thing, it's quite lengthy, but on behalf of the city of Newman, this proclamation identifies this 100-year celebration of Stanislaus County Library as a well, we'll read a brief part of it. Whereas the McHenry Library, the county's main library, opened its doors on May 1, 1912, and checked out its first book to an 8-year-old Merrill McHenry, son of Ormel McHenry, the banker, who bequeathed $20,000 in 1906 to build a public library at 14th and I Street in Modesto. And it goes on, and so it recognizes what our library does for our community, in terms of it offers preschool story times and summer reading programs to encourage children to begin the habit of reading that will serve to benefit their personal and professional lives. So therefore now be resolved that the Newman City Council does hereby unanimously commend the Stanislaus County Library System on the occasion of its 100th anniversary and proclaims April 8th through the 14th, 2012 as National Library Week in the city of Newman, and urges everyone to visit its libraries and take advantage of the wonderful resources they provide.
Thank you very much, Mayor King.
If you want to say something real quick, please do.
Yes, on behalf of the library system, I thank you very much for this proclamation. And I'd like to take this opportunity to invite everybody to a 100th birthday party for the county library system on April 10th at 5 o'clock at the Newman Library. We're going to be celebrating locally the county library system's 100th birthday. We'll have cake and punch and some crafts and activities for the kiddies, all provided by the Friends of the Newman Library. And I'd like to introduce Cressy Maurer, who's the president of the local Newman Friends of the Public Library.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and just so happy to see this proclamation, and I want to thank you for issuing it. I also wanted to thank the mayor, because I know that tomorrow he is going to have his first Mayor's Book Club, which is really a story hour directed at the youngest children in our community to learn pre-reading skills. And so I'm really excited about this, and I really want to commend you, because I know you have a very busy schedule, and it's been hard for you to fit this in. So we're there rooting for you, supporting you, and I'm really, really proud of you, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. I'll need the support putting up with the little ones tomorrow.
I also wanted to say that on the at the birthday party, we're actually going to do an exhibit. We've gotten the Historical Society to give us some very interesting material from Newman's original library. So we're going to do sort of a look back at history at Newman's own library. It'll be on display during the library party. So we'll have a list of all the librarians, the original librarians, sort of a timeline of what different buildings the Newman Library occupied in town. So it's going to be fun to kind of take a look back at Newman's own library, which actually predates the county library system by about four years. So the Newman's Library began in 1908, and the county library system was established in 1912. So this community had a library before the county even had its own library. So, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chrissy. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Item 7, we'll go to items from the public, non-agenda items. Any member of the public wish to address the council? Now it's time to do it. Seeing none, we'll go to item 8, consent calendar. A is waive all readings by ordinances and resolutions set by title. B is approval of the warrants. C is approval of the minutes of the March 13, 2012 regular meeting. And just a standard correction, it shows B, C, and D. Probably should be A, B, and C. Okay.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar as read.
It's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 10, regular business. A is report on the HRPP park development options. Stephanie.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Before you is a draft list of potential housing-related parks program park projects. On February 28th, the council adopted a resolution authorizing an application for said funds. A part of that, a part of that application includes the identification of specific park projects. Based on existing park conditions, staff observations, and Parks and Recreation Commission suggestions, staff has identified the following projects. Glen Park Rehabilitation Project, also known as Amy Park, the Skate Park Expansion Project, the Lions Park Playground, patio or shade covers at Rose and Carlson Parks, a dog park appropriation, and basketball court resurfacing at Barrington, Borba, and Sherman Parks. Based on our reviews, staff has recommended Glen Park and the Skate Park Expansion Project, as well as the possibility of dog park funding. The reason being, we have spoken with the community member that's in charge of that, and she said that if she were to be able to get that appropriation, she would be able to have that park ready and open to the public within 6 weeks of receiving the funds. We anticipate if we get the grant, we would know in around June, which means she should be done mid-July. Staff respectfully requests council input.
Just one question on the state park expansion project. Would that enlarge the present park, or would it include that other area that's just to the south of that?
Well, what we've envisioned is that area where the pool used to be, to
Right.
put cement in that area, and then add additional modular pieces, or cement, depending on the budget.
Okay. Okay.
As far as the Klein Park, is that including putting in playground equipment and stuff over there? Is
Yes.
that what that's mainly for?
A small playground is usually around the $25,000–$30,000 mark. So since the park is so small, we just envision ripping out that old antiquated playground and putting in one that's more up to standards.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Council direction?
Is this a motion, or is it just a recommendation at this point?
Yeah, we just need a simple motion with which, if you concur with staff's recommendations, you can make that.
I do. I so concur.
You gonna make a motion? I'll second.
I make a
Bob.
motion that we concur with staff's direction on
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Does that include the dog park? Because that was kind of that was a point we had thought of after the staff report was released.
So you're going to move that up to recommended?
And
That's
Yes. Is that okay with the council?
That's
fine.
fine with it.
Okay.
Well, if we move it up, though, won't that be?
we'll just
over-
change it, we'll just change the numbers accordingly and then appropriate. We'll
Yes.
take care of it.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
B is report on home program activities. It's you again.
Yes. Good evening. The city is a member of the Stanislaus County Home Consortium. Home funds are designed for a variety of housing-related uses. Annually, the consortium reviews its programs and makes adjustments as needed. In an effort to provide a variety of housing programs for the Newman community, staff recommends the addition of a residential rehab program to our current list of home programs, which include first-time home buyers assistance and also housing project funding. Therefore, staff requests that the council approve the amended home program list to include residential rehab. And that would become effective at the new fiscal year in July.
I have a couple of questions on that stuff.
Yes.
Number one, how would we identify and how would they apply? I foresee somebody being in trouble on a house or something like that and trying to come in for rehab on it, and then it going into foreclosure or something like that, and then we'd be out the money. So what kind of application process are we actually gonna use for something like that?
It's a very good question. Staff, upon council approval today, would actually go and create that program. We can only go off of the information that's current. We can see if someone is in default or if they have, a history. Usually you can pull a track record through the lender to see if there's been any issues. Maybe we can go back a year or 2 years, whatever the council would like us to do, and that could be part of the program guidelines. So we could, do like an inquiry where they give us an authorization to call their lender, and we call and see if they've ever had any issues with defaults or late payments. If that hits a certain risk factor that we're uncomfortable with, that could be an automatic disqualification.
Yeah, I would think you'd probably want to get as in-depth as you possibly could, just so we don't run the risk of losing.
Yes, it's similar to a credit report. You know, we look at their history, we see what kind of debt, and we can disqualify someone based on that. And this would be no different. We get a credit report, we can pull their current status with their lender. We will do a thorough review of their
The
status.
other question I would have, no disrespect to banks, but what about a bank coming in to rehab one of their houses that they own because it's a mess?
The program is designed for income eligible individuals and families, so a bank or an investor would not be eligible.
Would not be eligible, okay.
Would it also apply, Stephanie, to if a person is the property owner but rents that property?
Usually you have to occupy the property. All home funds have to be owner occupied as far as I know.
Okay.
If they choose to rent it out at a later date, then the loans become due and payable either in monthly payments or lump sum, whatever the council chooses. And we would be bringing that back to you at a later time.
Okay. Any questions? Council direction?
Well, are we making a motion that you bring something back to us, or making a motion to approve?
You're essentially approving staff to proceed with the development of a program.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C is report on Newman Historical Society request.
Thank you, Mayor. At a recent Quaski Centennial Planning Committee meeting, there was conversation about reserving one of the downstairs suites at our new City Hall building for use by the Historical Society to display historic artifacts and again put together a presentation to celebrate the 125 years of Newman. In a recent conversation, though, they've asked if we could speed that up. There's no sense. They're thinking no sense in waiting. That we're going to reserve that site anyway. They'd like to maybe start trying to set that suite up. So for that, I put together just a little report here. It'd be 926 Fresno. That's the suite next to the alleyway there. Projected rent on that is $700 a month. Currently, we don't have anybody in there. From staff's perspective, Historical Society could be a very good partner in this because that actually leads up the stairway to the back way of the city there, so that kind of protects our back door a little bit. We would be missing out on that $700 a month rent, but it's not going to make or break our payments. From a cash perspective, we would anticipate it would cost the city about $200 a month for us to provide electrical and security costs to them. We are recommending that the Historical Society be anything else they'd be responsible for other than electrical and security. You know, if they want a phone in there, they'd have to put their own phone in there. Otherwise, they could use cell phones and bring that along with them. Again, as part of our condition, we're asking that if they do move in, that it is vacated by January 15th of 2014. That gives them the full year to celebrate on there. Again, we agreed to cover the security and electrical costs. All the other costs would be their responsibility. They would be responsible for the setup, display, removal, and staffing of the suite. There may be opportunities for Public Works to help with some of the larger items. I don't want to fully commit my staff to it, but if Garner has a few people that may be available someday, and Ms. Moore and Ms. Powell need a little bit of help, and he's got the opportunity to help, we're not going to deny that. But they need to understand that they need to work around the Public Works schedule if that is going to happen on there. So with that, we are recommending that we move forward. One last piece, we'd like to maybe hold this off till May of this year. We need a month to settle into the new digs, into the new building over there, and we're going to have enough trouble setting ourselves up there. So and filling some things in. If we could just maybe hold them off till May, they could start doing some pre-planning and stuff like that. Because we got to get security in there. But our security person's doing some work for us. So that's kind of where that all stands. So I know Ms. Moore is here, and if she has any comments, or I'd be more than willing to answer any questions the council may have.
Funding for the electrical and everything coming out of?
Yeah, these are all general fund expenses.
So we're looking at
You're looking about
$3,500.
You're looking about $1,000 up front. We talked to the security guy. He says, it's ballpark about $750 to put in some security systems in there. And then, we're estimating $200 a month.
So about 19 months of that. So we're looking at
Yeah.
about $5,000 at a max.
Yeah, it's about over a year and a half period. That would be a pretty round number, pretty close to that, yeah.
Any other questions? Comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that the council approve the Historical Society use of 926 Fresno Street until January 15th, 2014, under the following conditions. 1, the city agrees to cover all security and electrical costs. 2, all other costs shall be responsibility of the Historical Society. 3, the setup, displaying, removal, and staffing of the suite shall be also the sole responsibility of the Historical Society.
I'll second that.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item D is report on Newman Oversight Board appointments. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. There's a lot of conflicting information going on with AB 1X26. One of those issues, though, is we need to report to the State Department of Finance on or before May 1st of 2012 who's going to sit on the Oversight Board and who the chairman will be. However, prior to April 15th, we need to get an approved ROPS, which is a recognized obligation payment schedule to the state. So right now, currently, the Yosemite Community College District has appointed Ann DiMartini. The Stanislaus Office of Education has appointed Superintendent Ed Felt. The Turlock Mosquito Abatement District has appointed Kern Honeywell. Our supervisor, Jim DiMartini, will sit on it, and then the County Board of Supervisors appointed a public member, and that member is Vicki Lucas. The last two are a mayor's appointment and the members of the employees organization. I know the mayor has had some conversation with Councilman Don Hutchins on that, and as well as other members of the council. That's the recommendation at this point, and then we're also asking that Stephanie Ocasio be appointed to the Board of Supervisors. Really, there's two members of the employees organization that would have been either Lou or Stephanie, and I need Lou on the staff presentation side because he's going to be presenting the ROPS. So we're asking that Stephanie be appointed there. So we're asking for your concurrence tonight on this. The first board meeting will be, Thursday, April 12th at 3:30 p.m. here in the Newman Council Chambers, and we've already sent out a save the date on that.
Any questions or comments? Bob, would you like to make the motion?
Can I even vote on it? Yeah. Okay.
You don't get any money for it.
I don't get any money for it, that's right.
Okay.
You're making the motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 11, items from District 5 Supervisor Jim DiMartini.
We move right along, Jim.
Right. Good evening, Mayor Kate and council members. I can always tell when I'm in Newman there because the meetings just move so quickly. I just have a few things tonight. I'm not going to spoil your record of getting through the agenda pretty quickly. I just wanted to say the task force met this last week here in Newman, and we have, depending on the availability of the West Side Theater, we have picked the Health Summit, and the biggest loser weigh-in is October 23rd at around 11:30. Probably as we would start doing the weigh-ins. If the theater is not available, we'll pick a different day. I did check this year with all the school districts to be sure that the schools were going to be out or operating already. Because last year we unexpectedly had the summit when the schools were just in their first or second day of operation. So I checked with them all on that. And then the way out tentatively, depending upon the availability of the theater, because we're going to weigh out here too, would be October 18th, which would be 8 weeks is our contest. I have spent some time since our last meeting, in fact, with our attorney today. The task force has an attorney that's working for free, which is the best kind, and we're trying to develop a nonprofit status. I went over the bylaws with him today, and we made some changes in it that the task force had wanted to do. These were relatively minor things and just language changes. And so we hope to be at a nonprofit status in a couple of months. Things are actually moving a little bit faster than what I thought. The program for our West Side walks will begin again in June after school's out and go through August till the schools are back in session. And they will be again on Wednesday evenings. And we'll advertise those in the local papers. I've only checked with the Newman Crows Landing School District so far, and they've already okayed it. I just haven't talked to Gustine or Patterson yet, but since we had no problems in the last few years we've been doing this, I don't anticipate there be any problem. And our next task force meeting, which is always open to the public if anybody would like to come, will be on May 10th in Patterson. Okay? Thank
Any
you.
questions, Jim? Comments? You said the scheduled weigh-in is August 23rd?
Yeah, that.
August 23rd, depending upon the
Ferris said
availability
that
of
it
the...
would be available. The daytime is not a problem at all. And
Last
Mike-
year, we made the mistake of weighing out on a Saturday, and there's a lot of people that had a really difficult time with it. The 18th is a Thursday, so it's the 23rd of August. It just seemed like people coming at their lunch hour and doing the weigh-in, if they could stay for the summit, it seemed like it worked just fine. And so we'd like to keep it during the lunch hour, 12 to 1 kind of period. And although we weighed out in Gustine last year and in Patterson the year before, we thought we'd do everything here in Newman. You have such a nice facility in downtown that the other cities were agreeable, so we will do everything here this year.
Very good.
And
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Item 12, items from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple reminders. The RDA Oversight Board, again, the first meeting will be April 12th at 3:30. That'll be here in the City Council chambers. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m. we have the Quaski Centennial Planning Committee meeting, and that's to celebrate 125 years of Newman. Reminding the public, we will be closed this Friday and the following Monday, so we will be closed on March 30th and April 2nd. City offices will reopen at our new location at 938 Fresno Street at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, April 3rd. So everything's going well in the building. Again, just final push right now. We will not be 100% completed, but most of the things that are going to be done are going to be mostly cosmetic in that point. So we'll be fully functional and operational. We'll be able to take all payments. So we'll be ready to go from an operational perspective. Just, the walls will be a little bit bare and a few other things, but that'll all be taken care of shortly. So, and then to top it all off, that Friday is a furlough day. So we're only going to be open 3 days that week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because that's Easter week, and Friday is closed for, again, City Furlough Day. And then lastly, I just wanted to thank the Chamber. They did a great job on the annual dinner dance this year. It was a great time for all. I want to thank them for acknowledging the city with their expansion award. That was very kind to them. So, again, the theater looked beautiful, the food was great, and their planning staff, and I know the president of the chamber did an excellent job, and they worked really hard on that. They should be commended. So, with that, that's all that I had tonight.
Great. Any questions or comments, Michael? Staff?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Just a couple housekeeping items. We are receiving our electric vehicles. Council approved staff to apply for a grant for the electric vehicles. We did get that grant, and we have received half the vehicles. The remaining 3 vehicles will be delivered this week. So I start seeing those around town. There's going to be 4 gym-type vehicles, kind of big bubble-looking thing with a bed on them. One's a 4-seater that we can use for special events for council or whatever. It's really nice, a 4-seater one. Then we have 2 John Deere Gators that will be used in our parks. And then we have a Polaris Ranger UTV that will be used in our parks, and one at the wastewater plant. So those are starting to arrive. In addition to that, I don't know if you've noticed, but some of our landscape areas are putting in the rubber bark. Sherman Parkway, we've done the intersections. We're getting really good positive
Looks
feedback
nice.
on that.
Looks very nice.
Thank you. every time that we seem to go out there, people are now recognizing how nice it looks out there. It'd be a little bit more maintenance on the upkeep of it because it gets spread around, but we'll stay on top of that. We're going to finish wrapping that grant up and think about applying for another grant so we can do some more landscape areas. We're just about completed with that project. Also, we've been posting trail cameras in various locations around town, and it's starting to pay off. We caught somebody graffitiing one of our the gazebo at the Pioneer Park. Got a before, during, and after picture of them, and from what I understand tonight, the PD has a suspect that they'll be interviewing with that. So they're starting to pay off. If we have any future, hopefully copper thefts, if we don't have any of those, we can catch those on camera as well. So I think we have about 12 cameras around town right now. And they kind of move around depending on, time and location and what we have going on throughout town.
That's a good thing to have, just because they don't know when they're going to pop up and where they're going to be. So that's got to be somewhat of a deterrent, I hope.
And we've had
So-
cameras in some of our parks for over a year.
Yeah.
We had kids climbing up on the bathrooms at Pioneer Park, and once they were showing a few photos of themselves on the park, that seemed to quit. So
Yeah.
PD's been very cooperative with us, and it's been very positive. Well,
Great.
with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Questions, Carr?
Just one question I've been asked a couple of times in the parks, where the swing sets are and the bark are.
Which park?
Uh,
Pioneer?
Yeah. Where the swings are, it gets thinned out very rapidly. And I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but.
Well, we have to keep raking it back in there. By law, we have to keep so much depth of the bark in there for safety purposes. I don't think we can raise the swings either because they're pretty strict on that. We had to have those inspected prior to finalizing that part of the park.
But I noticed, and I've had people tell me, yeah, that bark every time they take their kids in there in the afternoon, it's already.
Oh, every day, about every day?
Yeah,
it's
about
happening?
every day. If they use the swings, because they put their feet down and that bark just.
Kicks
it
out.
Kicks out. And so it's getting back down to the.
Okay,
Bottom.
we'll get our staff out there tomorrow to check that out. Thank you.
Gar, and I know I asked Michael previously, but as far as the lighting in the park, are we going to try to do something to improve the lighting? I got at least one call from a resident who lives over there who claims to be the self-imposed watcher of the park. And he called me, it's been several weeks ago, I guess, when somebody lit some of the bark on fire. And he said if he would have better lighting, he might have been able to identify him. He just saw the kids. And so I talked to Michael about it, and so I told him that something was already in the works, hopefully, that we try to get some light improvement, more so on the west side of the park by the swings. I think that's where he was talking
Right.
about.
Right now, we're working with E&M Electric to analyze the park to see if we have room for more electrical. One for Fall Festival, they're asking for some additional electrical they're willing to pay for. At the same time, we're hoping to get some more source of electricity out there so that we can enhance the lighting in there. We'll have to analyze it and see where we have our dark spots. I haven't done that yet, but we'll see what we can do for you.
And I made a point to drive by there, and some of the lights are blocked by the growth of the trees
Okay.
as well, so.
All right. We
but,
can handle
you know,
that.
If we could get another light, probably on that west side somewhere, it might be helpful. Take a look at it anyway.
Definitely.
Okay. Thank
Mayor,
you.
that project, CDBG money, it'll come back around to that
Yeah.
here in the next year or two, because you can do 3 years of funding, then you gotta take a break, and then you can bring it back around. So when it comes back around, that's another thing. If it hasn't been
Yeah, I
fully
mean,
addressed at that point.
Yeah,
we
but
can-
even if, I don't know how expensive it is, even if we could somehow put a light up on our own somehow, just for the security of the park.
We'll look at our options. Maybe we can look at something on the canopy side that would shine over towards the equipment or something like that. And we'll look at the trees, see if we can't.
I
prune
think
those out.
anything just to improve the security of the park area, just in terms
Definitely.
of lighting at nighttime. Especially with the better weather coming out, we're probably gonna start having more people hang out later hours of the night.
Sure.
Be helpful
Okay.
for the PD as well, to be able to see.
Help with our
Okay.
trail cameras too.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Lou? Stephanie?
Who's happy?
This Thursday, Stanislaus County will be holding a public scoping meeting here in the council chambers regarding the Riddle surface mine application. Just want to let everybody know that that'll be happening and to please attend and let your opinion be known about the proposed mining operation on the outside of town.
When is that?
That is this Thursday, the 29th at 6 p.m. here in the chambers. That's all I have.
Thank you. 10 short? Nothing? Okay, council members. Councilman Hutchins?
I won't be able to attend Thursday night, but hopefully I'll be down south for a league meeting, but I don't think we want that mining operation out there.
I don't
so.
think we do either.
Bill, real quickly, we did meet this week on the Oversight Committee, and it was good to see each one of the members of our Oversight Committee was at the meeting. And as we all sat there and looked at each other, when they got through, it was just about as confusing as when they started. And now it's getting even more confusing because there's some bills rushing through Congress that it looks like are going to change everything again. So I know that Lou and Michael are going to be on top of it, but it's a mess. Other than that, I don't have anything.
Great. Bob?
Just to thank Mike and Stephanie for setting up for the West Side Healthcare Task Force. When we had our meeting the other night, it looked very nice, and the food was excellent. It fit the occasion, all this healthy food. But I want to thank you. I mean, it makes me proud when I come to a meeting like that, and we have other members coming from the different communities, and it shows that we care about them. And it was very nice. Thank you. The only negative thing I'd like to say, on 2 occasions now, I've seen young men skating downtown at our plaza, and I don't know if there's any way to prevent that, but it continues to be they were down there tonight, but I don't want to see them become a habit of that's where they think they should skate, but maybe with this new skateboard park, then that would encourage them to go there rather than downtown area. But anyway, it's just something we should watch because, it's beautiful down there, and I just hate to see anyone destroy it. And that's the only thing. Other than I'd like to mention, the chamber did a fantastic job. We can't thank you enough for a great evening, and it was just a pleasure to be there and to see everyone there, and makes you proud. But thank you so much, Vicki. That's all I have.
Great. Well, I concur with that. It was a fantastic evening, and just the area I was seeing, a lot of people kept commenting, and so all the accolades go to Vicki, you, and the rest of the directors for putting on a fantastic evening. It was truly a great one. And I would encourage members of the public to attend the scoping meeting on Thursday. It's important. This mining project, when it first came to our attention, I didn't realize the significance and the impact that mining operation is going to have on our community. So I would encourage you to attend that, voice your opinion. It's not going to be a good project, I don't think, for our community, and I would encourage our supervisor to listen to the residents of Newman, and please, when it comes to a vote to the county, that take a serious look at it, Jim. We just don't feel that's going to be a good project for our community. And if you don't know anything about it, come to that meeting. You're going to learn a lot about it. Basically, it's a 50-year project that they're going to dig about 100-foot, 150-foot hole in the ground, probably another 100 feet wide. And when they finish mining that project, they're going to walk away from it and leave it that way. So the impact it's going to have on our community just in terms of noise, dust, trucks. And when we talk about preservation of farmland, I think that should be something near and dear to your heart, Jim. That property is going to be right on prime farmland that currently has orchards in there, and all that would be removed and not be returned to its current state. So that's been a bone of contention, and I would hope that you would take a serious look at that and listen to the residents of Newman and our city staff and recognize that being prime farmland, which has been a bone of contention, would not be returned to its original state. So I would encourage everybody to come to that scoping meeting on Thursday at 6 here in the chambers. With that, we are adjourned.